In this video, I'm going to show you how emotional calibration during a significant time of change can be a major factor in successfully starting a new executive role. My name is Cameron Norton and I'm an executive search consultant, and my hope is that through this video, you become aware of the emotional cycle of change that happens when you start a new role and can learn how to navigate those first few weeks and months more effectively and experience less emotional turmoil. And if you have someone new joining your team, this video will help you to become aware of what your new starter is going to go through emotionally. And as a result, you can adapt your leadership approach to meet them where they are at different points of the onboarding experience. Traditional advice and onboarding plans often focus on the first 90 or 100 days of a new job and what needs to get done. What tends to be missing, though, is the awareness and understanding of how someone starting a new role will feel across those first 90 to 100 days as they navigate a significant change. And there are predictable emotional stages people experience when they're undergoing significant change. This video explores the emotional cycle of change as developed by Don Kelly and Darrell Connor back in 1979. The model describes the predictable emotional stages people experience when undergoing significant personal or professional change. And from my experience in executive search, it is a model that is extremely relevant when people are starting a new role, as it's a time of both great excitement and also great disruption. Now let's take a moment to get across the emotional cycle of change. On the y-axis, you have the emotional stage. On the x-axis, you have time. In the middle, you have a dotted line, and above the line represents optimism, and below the line represents pessimism. When starting a new job, people will move along this curve and hit different stages at different times, which is an important thing to recognize as a leader and also as someone starting a new role. For leaders, you need to be tuned into how your new starter is progressing through each of these stages so that you can adapt your leadership approach accordingly and meet your new starter where they are on the emotional curve. The 5 stages which we'll cover throughout this video are included in the model here. Stage 1, uninformed optimism. Stage 2, informed pessimism. Stage 3, the valley of despair. Stage 4, informed optimism. And stage 5, success and fulfillment. Stage 1, uninformed optimism, or as I refer to it with candidates, the honeymoon phase. This stage is where you have really positive energy, a high level of enthusiasm, and everything feels possible with this new role. You're living in the vision of future possibilities and best case scenarios about what the new job means to you. It may mean career progression, more meaningful work, a higher income. You're living in those best case scenario outcomes. It's in this stage you're feeling really motivated and ready to impress, but you'll also have some awareness that there'll be a learning curve ahead. And at this stage, you're likely underestimating just how much it is that you'll need to learn. But enjoy this stage. It feels good. Stage 2, informed pessimism, or this is the harder than I thought it would be stage. In this stage, the learning curve kicks in. The culture is unfamiliar. The politics and dynamics are starting to emerge. New expectations and things that weren't said at the interview are starting to show up, and you haven't fully formed relationships with those you work with. In this stage, you can quickly find yourself starting to question and doubt your decision. The self-talk begins. Why did I leave my last role? It wasn't that bad. I think I was sold the dream, but it's actually a nightmare. The self-doubt and the anxiety begins to creep in. Sounds pretty terrible, doesn't it? Well, it's about to get worse in stage 3. Stage 3, the valley of despair, the I don't think I can actually do this stage. This is the part that no one talks about, but everyone goes through it. It's the moment when the excitement has disappeared and you are left in the grind. This is the toughest emotional stage that you will go through when starting a new job, and it's often when people will decide it's all too much and quit. Remaining engaged is a real battle. You may feel discouraged or isolated, productivity takes a hit, and you're thinking about the expectations you had coming in versus the reality you had each day. If you're leading a new starter or working in HR, people and culture, this is where you'll see the potential for burnout and also where the highest attrition risk for new starters exists. This is when you're going to be needed the most and can play a significant role to help shift new starters to stage 4. Stage 4, informed optimism. If you've made it to stage 4, congratulations, it's only up from here. You've survived some really tough days and you're now stronger for it. In the informed optimism stage, you will generally be feeling a bit better. Your confidence will be lifting and you'll have formed some relationships with those around you, some deeper than others, and your value is becoming known. Your opinion, your perspective is starting to be sought out by those you work with, and that naturally feels good. It's in this stage you'll be feeling that your momentum is building. You're starting to see some early results and wins, and that's reinforcing the belief that you may just get through this and make something of this opportunity. Stage 5, success and fulfillment. In stage 5, you feel fully integrated and embedded into your new job and organization. The pessimism you felt in stage 2 and stage 3 is long gone. It's in this phase where your job satisfaction is high. You're feeling empowered to do what you need to do. Your results are starting to stack up and your impact is visible, and you have developed deep and trusted relationships with those around you. This stage is an enduring stage that can last a couple of years, sometimes more, and it will last until you hit a growth or impact plateau phase that can cause the next catalyst for you to look for your next role. I'll cover that in a future video around when's the right time to start thinking about your next role. In stage 5, you're starting to realize those longer term outcomes, and that's what usually forces people to start thinking what's next. Through having awareness and understanding of the emotional cycle of change, you can anticipate the emotional dips that lay ahead and know that they're a normal part of the transition process. You can also put in place strategies to help with effectively navigating each stage to help you reach stage 5 success and fulfillment sooner. Now, I'm going to share some strategies for an effective job transition and onboarding experience. But first, I want to cover some guiding principles. The guiding principles is that this is your journey. You're both the designer and the participant. So be intentional about the experiences you create for yourself and others. When you start a new role, you'll likely receive an induction and onboarding plan. Whilst that's really valuable, it's also important to think about what's missing and what you might need to add into that yourself. Expect the emotional roller coaster that lay ahead. The transition journey has predictable highs and lows, and the awareness through this video and awareness of the emotional cycle of change will hopefully reduce some of that anxiety that you experience in those first few weeks and months. Listen to feedback and refine your approach early and often. Systematically gather feedback and sentiment to refine your approach. And it's really important to anchor yourself in purpose or reconnect to why you took the job. This sustains the motivation through those uncertain periods that you'll experience. Now, some practical things that you can do when you're starting a new role. Define success and the key result areas. Often you've found out what success looks like during the recruitment process, and you have a clear sense of what key result areas you'll need to drive and achieve. It's really valuable also to look at a stakeholder map. So see how you can identify key stakeholders you'll need to engage with early so that you can start to do some research on each of those people and get a sense as to what's important to them before you even meet them. It's really important to think about your mindset and have some self-awareness as to how you're feeling. What are you most excited about? What are you most anxious about? How can you prepare to stay grounded when the reality hits across that emotional cycle of change? And what I'd recommend is to capture your baseline experience. Write down how you're feeling, write down what you're thinking, write down what you're most excited about, what you're most anxious about. Capture why you took the job. These can be really important data points that you can refer to later. Stage 2, the getting started phase, and often the first 1 to 30 days. This is when the informed pessimism will kick in. This is more complex than I thought stage. I recommend ensuring that you have a structured listening approach. Ask open-ended questions. What's working well? What needs to change? What should I avoid doing? Capture both facts, but also capture feelings. Track your energy and allow more recovery time. You'll be taking in a lot of new information, meeting a lot of new people. That's going to demand a high level of energy from your brain when it comes to storing those memories. Track how you feel each week, but also notice where your energy dips and adjust your schedule to include reflection and recovery time. Throughout those first few weeks, it's really important to deliver on your word early. Build those micro trust moments. Deliver on those small commitments. Be transparent about what you don't yet know. And ask for feedback early. After key meetings, ask what's landed well, what could I do differently next time? Use these as experience signals to fine tune your style. And then do a bit of a self-check. Am I listening more than I'm talking? Have I built psychological safety with at least 3 key stakeholders? Stage 3, contributing whilst clarifying. In this phase, you need to be co-creating a structured next 90-day plan. Define success measures and the support required to achieve it. Align this with your manager, align it with key stakeholders, talk to them about priorities, and define the success measures together so that everyone's bought into where you're looking to drive things. Establish those one-to-one feedback opportunities. Schedule one-to-one check-ins with your manager. Schedule one-to-one check-ins with your team. Focused on how things feel. Ask what's making collaboration easy or what's making it hard. Determine what each team member needs from you as a leader. And again, look at the weekly reflection and self-check-in. Journal what surprised me about this week, what energized me, what drained me. Track your emotional pattern against the emotional cycle change curve. And celebrate progress. Focus on the process rather than the actual results. Share early learnings and wins with your team and recognize their contributions to creating some of that shared momentum. Again, do the self-check-in. Do I know which experiences are helping my team feel confident? And have I turned feedback into visible changes in the way I'm doing things? Stage 4, bringing your value and impact. In this phase, you're looking to strengthen influence by being really intentional about every interaction. Before having an interaction with someone, ask, what experience do I want them to have when they've left this interaction? Communicate and celebrate success beyond performance. Communicate those stories of progress. Frame your success narratives around learning, collaboration, not just performance. Also share what you're learning and demonstrate your openness to the wins and also the losses that you're experiencing. At stage 4, it's a really key time to recalibrate your strategic focus. You've been there long enough now to assess what you were thinking when you started the role to what is actually possible in this role. So there may be some recalibration that's required. So adjust that strategic focus as you've gained more context, revisit what success looks like, and think about the next 6 months. Stage 5, sustaining momentum and growth. This is where you're in the fulfillment stage, that I belong here and I'm shaping the future stage. Your focus here is to sustain that experience and design for future impact. Create strategic rituals that drive performance. Achieve and realize those results and celebrate those successes. Given you're up and running, you're fully embedded, fully integrated in the organization, this is a great opportunity for you to mentor and support other new starters through the emotional cycle of change and be a key leader for them as they join the organization. Reflect regularly and keep a record of your achievements and impact in this role. This can be really important when you go to develop your resume for that next role when that time comes. I've provided here an onboarding roadmap to give you a guide as to what you can be doing in each stage of the emotional cycle of change. Now, I've got some time frames underneath each stage. It's really important to understand that those time frames can change depending on the induction and onboarding experience that you have with the organization you're joining, and also how quickly or slowly you move through that emotional cycle of change. Whilst there may be nothing groundbreaking here, hopefully through the information shared with you throughout this video, you'll be more cognizant of managing your emotional state throughout the various stages of commencing a new role and be able to preempt and be ready for when those moments of doubt hit. And the key takeaway from this video is that successful onboarding isn't just about ramping up performance, it's about emotional calibration during a significant time of change. My name's Cameron Norton. Please share this content with people in your network that may find it valuable. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Let me know if this video was interesting, if you learned something, it gave you some new perspectives to think about. And finally, let me know what else you'd love to learn about. Shoot me a message via LinkedIn, and hopefully your ideas can inspire some future content that I can continue to share with the network.